So speaking of Richard, who's been so important these last weeks in Bill's life and in the lives of Mateo, Richard's going to come up and share some memories.
Well, first of all, thank you, Andrew. That was all the people who come up and say nice things about me. I take just as a reflection of the nice things that we all know about Bill. And so it just bounces back and forth between the two of us. I am Richard Fischer, and Bill's younger brother. My sister Carolinda could not be here with us today. I'm sure that she is grieving over that. But her last email confirmed that she made the right decision. And I have to honor that, and I accept that, and we talked much about it, and I know that she does grieve for not being here. Last year, just about this time, the Dalai Lama visited Cedar Falls, Iowa. And I said, what an opportunity. What a great thing to do, and go and see him and spend, I guess, maybe 4 hours listening to him over the course of a day. And I'm not a religious person, but he's a neat guy. And so I'm looking at, found something that he said, not that day, but he said sometime, and it reminded me of Bill. This is my simple religion. There is no need for temples, no need for complicated philosophy. Our own brain and our own heart is our temple. The philosophy is kindness. When I think of Bill, these last years he worked and became a kind human being. Bill and I have a history that doesn't always reflect the kindness, but it came out and he worked on that, and more, I think he became a strong, kind human being. And I like that idea. Another thing that I found going through his writings was a statement by Thornton Wilder. It was something that he had cut out from a magazine, and it looked like it had pinholes in it where it had been over beds or in the bathrooms. It says, just eat your ice cream while it's on your plate. That's my philosophy. And I like that notion of this complicated human being having that simple, straightforward, it's in front of me now, philosophy. I'd like to take the rest of my time, just, I think we have 3 minutes. I wanted to just share part of a short story that Bill was working on. He started this back in '78, and it's not quite done yet. As I think is true of most of his writing, he loved to revise and rewrite, and so I thought we'd just listen to his voice, just as a small part of the short story he was working on. And the title of it was Generations, so here we go. The man was standing in the street next to the boy, near the curb. His intense stare was scanning oncoming traffic for a cab with its light lit. The boy was holding on to one of the 2 hockey sticks sticking out of the equipment bag. The bag was on the curb. It leaned up against the boy's legs. He fiddled the handle absent-mindedly as he looked toward the apartment house they had just left. As the man waited, he thought of the black plastic lightweight skates resting in the boy's equipment bag. And upon the utility room, and compared them to the old brown and black leather ones hidden in the utility room closet in his apartment. CCM stenciled in silver above the scuffed heels. The toes were scratched, the blades rusted. And while they had been in a hockey game a few winters back, they had been purchased when the man was 21 by a college girlfriend. Something about Bill's girlfriend always sneaks in. I don't know how that happens either. When she had given them to the man, he hadn't played organized hockey since he had been the age of the boy. and then on skates that arrived under a Christmas tree via Montgomery Ward. He realized as a kid he had to settle for less. He was glad his son had the shiny new plastic black ones. Your grandfather would have loved you watching you play, the man said. He loved to watch sports. He must have loved playing them when he was young. The boy nodded. The grandfather had died when the boy was 4. He remembered the man as having white hair, a white mustache, a red face, and a big belly. A beer belly, Grandma used to call it. Your grandfather came and watched me play, standing behind the boards in the snow. He wore a heavy knee-length coat and stood near the penalty box. Did you get a lot of penalties, the boy asked. I didn't play enough. I got a tripping penalty. Was the kid you tripped going to score? No. Maybe it was a bad penalty. Yeah, that's what the coach said. You took a bad penalty. Did Grandpa play hockey? No, he was a speed skater. I learned to skate on his tubes. That's what we called them. They had blades about 1.5 feet long. Did he want you to become a speed skater? I never thought of that. When he was a young man, he lived with his sister, my aunt, and he taught 2 of our cousins to skate and play hockey. They became great hockey players. One of them was the captain of the University of Minnesota team. He was a tough guy. A taxi stopped, a man opened the back door and began lifting the equipment bag onto the floor. So that's on these sheets of paper, old and yellow and marked up and revised and ongoing and without page numbers, I might add, and shuffled together. Thanks, Bill, for that. The next piece is nonfiction, and I only want to read the top, read the first paragraph. It speaks much of Bill, his skill as a writer, his concern for others, his diplomatic way of being disagreeable, his pride in doing a job well, his unwillingness to stay where he can't get the job done through no fault of his own. When I think of Bill, I guess I think of New York, I think of running sports, I think of the job that he loves so much, making playgrounds for kids, making the city more beautiful, taking the time to go out and to be outside. So this is a job that Bill had back in the 24th of March, 1975. It's a letter he wrote to his boss. John is here, okay. To Mr. Leonard R., 4321 Hartwick Road, College Park, Maryland. Dear Lenny, quitting a job without giving sufficient notice is not a practice I take pride in, nor is it something I often do. Obviously, then, a reason exists for doing so now. The simplest and most direct explanation lies in attitude, my own, vis-a-vis the character of the job, and those of others, which colored my impressions of them. This letter concerns these somewhat ambiguous considerations and, hopefully, offers a bit of constructive criticism which might help to make your business more successful. And I go, this is a guy, he was a delivery man. He was driving a delivery truck with plants in it, right? He's probably making in 75 or $2.25 an hour, and probably to buy his own gas. And he spends not 1 page, not 2 pages, not 3 pages, 3.5 pages giving his boss an organizational structure that he thought would be good for the job, outlining specific duties for the 6 employees that were there and how they could do it, prioritizing different drop points and prioritizing distribution networks that had to be used. A $2.25 job, come on, Bill. But he took the time, he wrote wonderfully. There were revisions of this in his stack of letters that he's kept and how he revised it. And it just reminds me that this is a guy who cared for everyone. Bosses, a fictitious son in a short story, and for me and for everyone around us. So I wanted to share his voice a little bit with you, and I just want to thank you all for the comments you make about my trying to duplicate Bill's voice in the journals. So thank you.